Hey everybody, I'm here. I think I've discovered an amazing hidden secret in Left 4 Dead. I've unearthed a detail left by the developers that nobody in the years and years since the game has existed has ever reported. This is incredibly exciting. I have a hypothesis that'll make you think the developers were secretly geniuses. But before going into it, let me set the stage. I make videos about the game Left 4 Dead 2. As part of the video creation process, I often find myself flying around in-game, looking for interesting places to record footage. One day, I was in the apartment building at the start of the No Mercy campaign, admiring this owl painting. Owls are my favorite animal, after all. I noticed something I never noticed before. The owl has 4 mice caught in its talons. This got me thinking, maybe there are details in the other paintings I also never noticed before. Looking over all the paintings in the apartment building revealed something unexpected. Despite how radically different they all are, they all share a specific characteristic. There's a motif that ties them all together. And that motif is 4 objects. The owl painting has 4 mice. The flower painting has 4 flowers. The more abstract flower painting also has 4 flowers. The house painting has 4 bushes. The farm painting has 4 sheep, the coastline painting has 4 birds, the window painting has 4 squares of light, the pig painting has 4 apples, and finally, the forest painting has 4 mountain peaks. My hypothesis is the recurring motif of 4 objects in all the paintings in the apartments is intentional and has meaning behind it. I dub this hypothesis the painting hypothesis. Let's explore it further. In the original Left 4 Dead game, this apartment building is the very first location the survivors explore. In the game's lore, the opening cinematic happens, and then the No Mercy campaign starts with the survivors on the roof of this apartment. They then begin their journey by descending the interior and passing by the paintings. Or maybe they're speedrunners and yeet themselves off the roof of the building. Under normal circumstances, they descend the building and see the paintings on the way down. The paintings are in the perfect location to hide hidden meaning. They can convey subtle information and foreshadow the journey ahead. The developers placed them in the best location to make sure that they can act as a prologue of sorts to the game as a whole. Let's examine what I think the meaning is behind the 4 objects motif. What could be the significance of the number 4 in a game called Left 4 Dead, where the 4 in Left 4 Dead is a number? The 4 in Left 4 Dead refers to the 4 survivors and how the game revolves around being a cooperative experience. First and foremost, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are about teamwork and working together. Survivors make it through their journey and survive the longest by helping each other. They share their resources, both in a literal sense by carrying items for each other and healing each other, and in a less literal sense by spending time and energy on each other. When a survivor is on the ground incapacitated, another survivor must commit time to rescue them. Helping a survivor up leaves the survivor doing so defenseless. There's a danger and opportunity cost to saving someone, one ideally covered by a third survivor. Another way the game focuses on cooperation is with the design of the special infected zombies. When a survivor is grabbed by a special infected, they can't free themselves. They rely entirely on teammates to help them. This encourages survivors to travel together because going off alone will likely end with them getting grabbed and then having their health depleted. Under the assumption that the 4 object motif in each of the paintings represents the 4 survivors, it's possible to derive some interesting meanings from the paintings. Remember what the French philosopher Roland Barthes said: "The meaning of a text is not determined by the author's intention, but rather by the reader's interpretation." And it's time to interpret the f*** out of these paintings. Luckily for me, I'm literally professionally trained to do this, as demonstrated by this bachelor degree in fine arts that I achieved in 2018. Let's begin the analysis by looking at the titles of the paintings. Going into the game's files to try to find them reveals that the developers chose to save space by making multiple paintings share the same model. The owl, flowers, abstract flowers, and house paintings are all different skins for the model called Painting Portrait 01. and the farm, coastline, window, pig, and forest paintings are all different skins for the model called Painting Landscape 01. These two models reside within the Props Interior folder, designating their intended use as decorative props to be used indoors. Looking into the game's files revealed some interesting tidbits of information, but not the titles of these works. Unfortunate. Moving on. It's going to be difficult to comment on the finer details of the paintings. The intricate details these works may have been compressed away. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are games from 2008 and 2009. In order for them to run well on the Xbox 360 and the computers of the time, they needed to have low-resolution, optimized assets. To put things into perspective, typically a texture in these games has a resolution of 512 by 512 pixels. Textures for small or less important things have a resolution of 256 by 256. The paintings are 3D models. This means a portion of their texture is used up by detailing the frame and the back, not just the picture depicted on the front. In short, the paintings are low resolution, making them blurry and lack detail. The Owl Painting. The owl has mice in its talons. It has them trapped. They're hanging by their tails. If the mice are the survivors, they're in a scary predicament. Will the mice escape to live another day, or will they be devoured by the owl? In the world of Left 4 Dead, the survivors are all alone. It's just the 4 of them against the life-threatening situation that is the zombie apocalypse. This work echoes their circumstance. They are in constant danger from a predator that's larger than they are, a foe that they may not be able to overcome. Hopefully they can use teamwork to make it through. The work frames the owl as the focus. It's quite nice with earthy tones and a plain background. This painting is found in the bathroom in apartment number 3 on the top floor, as well as in the living room, above an armchair, in the unnumbered apartment on the middle floor. The Flowers Painting. This painting is a still life depicting creamy white flowers in a blue vase. The vase is on a surface with spread out flower petals. The flowers represent the survivors. Against all odds, the flowers fight to survive in an inhospitable environment. After all, flowers need light, and these are stuck in darkness. The survivors embody these flowers. They have a strong will to live, and so, they do. The petals on the ground show that the fight for survival isn't easy. It could mean the survivors have been beat down and weathered by their circumstance. It could also represent the average human who has fallen to the zombie infection. The contrast between the background and the stems of the flowers could be improved for better visibility. Overall, a nice simple work. This painting is found in the kitchen near the table in apartment number 3 on the top floor, as well as in the kitchen above the table in apartment number 1 on the bottom floor. It seems like people like to look at flowers while they eat food in this universe. This is not a joke, this is an observation. The Abstract Flowers Painting. This painting depicts 4 green lines that connect to 4 sets of ovals stacked on top of each other. The green lines are the stems and the ovals are the heads of the flowers. The way the stems of the flowers wind and curve around each other suggests coordination in movement. It's as if the 4 flowers are aware of the location of their neighbors and are orienting themselves in order to cover as much space on the canvas as possible. Like the flowers, the survivors use coordination to cover as much space as possible, but in a different sense. They use weaponry to cover the space around them to make sure nothing dangerous gets too close. The heads of the flowers are all facing the viewer. Precedence that flowers can all be facing the same direction exists in nature. Some flower plants, such as sunflower plants, always grow in a way that ensures that the head of the flower faces the sunrise in the east. They do this to ensure that they live and prosper. The flowers coordinate as they're unified by the goal of survival. They're just like the survivors, who do the same. This painting is found in the bedroom over the bed in apartment number 1 on the bottom floor. Wait a second. I just realized this painting also looks like colorful sperm cells. Let's just forget about this comparison and move on. The House Painting. This landscape painting depicts a house nestled between 2 hills with 4 bushes below. It has a flat perspective. like in orthographic view. All objects exist on a plane with little depth. Unlike the other paintings, this one has a hard-to-see, simple decorative design on the space between the picture and the wooden frame. The windows of the house reveal a dark interior. This gives off a foreboding feeling, as if there's something dangerous beneath the exterior. The painting in general gives off a creepy vibe. In nature, bushes are a versatile tool for animals. Their ability to conceal can be used for protection, as they create a safe space to hide in. They can also be used by predatory animals to surprise attack their prey. Bushes can symbolize survival instincts taking over. They can represent the loss of civility required in a zombie apocalypse. The survivors aren't acting like normal members of society anymore. What jobs they had, what roles they played, what place in the world they occupied beforehand is all gone. They've become like animals in bushes and need to rely on their primal instincts in order to adapt to their perilous situation. This painting is found in the entrance hallway in apartment number 2 on the middle floor, as well as in the living room above an armchair in the unnumbered apartment on the same floor. The Farm Painting. This painting is a simple landscape. It depicts an outdoor scene with barns and sheep in the foreground. Like the previous painting, all figures are on a shallow plane. Interesting fact, the reason why barns are stereotypically depicted as red is because, as a cost-saving measure in Europe, they were painted with a linseed oil mixture that contained blood or rust, which dyed the mixture red. Anyways, back on topic. Sheep are highly social animals. They are classified as herd animals. They prefer to graze with their social group close by, rather than at a distance. This is an evolutionary trait to aid in survival, as it allows the sheep to be more vigilant over each other and warn each other of danger. The 4 survivors are like sheep in that they have a special social structure between them where they too travel together, warn each other of danger, and aid each other for survival. Looking closer at the painting, the way the sheep are sized and positioned, with one large one facing one small one and another large one facing another small one, suggests a familial bond, such as parent and child. This raises ideas of responsibility and kinship. Like how parents are responsible for looking after children, the survivors are responsible for looking after each other. Do the survivors see each other as family? Maybe. It sure seems like it when one dies and the remaining survivors say goodbye in a genuinely mournful and heart-wrenching way.
I'll remember you in my prayers, bro.
This painting is found in the living room above the sofa in apartment number 2 on the middle floor. The Coastline Painting. This painting depicts a beach at sunset. There are large waves moving in and out along a coast. A powerful orange sun is in the background, and 4 birds are walking in shallow water in the foreground. This painting has a lot of movement. Waves of water along a coastline are always in a state of movement. Birds are also basically always in a state of movement. It could be this painting is making reference to the 2 opposing forces in Left 4 Dead. The large waves threatening to crash water down on the birds represents the endless horde of infected. The birds, with their agile ability to take flight and escape, represents the survivors. Despite the waves being a larger-than-life, massive force of nature, the birds oppose it. The birds conquer the waves like the survivors conquer the hordes, by utilizing their mobility to travel to a safe place. In the case of the survivors, by making it to the next safe room or rescue vehicle. Another way to interpret this painting is as a metaphor for change. A sunset can signify many things. In real life, it signifies that the day is ending. In this painting, it could represent the end of normal life. The zombie apocalypse is happening, so regular civilization has ceased. The world is a very lonely place with only a few normal people remaining. At the end of the day, all the birds and all the survivors have left are each other. This interpretation is helped by the birds only occupying a small portion of the painting. Them being minute in the grand scheme of the painting reinforces the feeling of isolation. This painting has a golden ornate frame, which could suggest this painting has greater importance, or simply that the owners of the painting held it in high regards. In any case, the color of the frame plays off of the colors of the painting nicely. This painting is found in the living room above the sofa in apartment number 1 on the bottom floor. The window painting. This painting depicts a window on the exterior of a building. The window has open shutters. The wall to the left and under the window is covered by vegetation with small flowers, some of which covering the window. Inside the window is a dark void broken by a lit up 2x2 square window pattern. The most immediate and striking detail of this painting is the light in the window. It appears to be light cast onto an interior wall from the window, however, the shape is incorrect. The window has a 3x3 pattern to its glass, while the light has a 2x2 pattern. Maybe the interior light pattern isn't actually light cast from the window onto a wall. Instead, it could be another window, one positioned on the opposite side of the building. In other words, perhaps this painting depicts looking through a building and seeing a window on the other end. Regardless, the dissonance between what's expected and what's depicted creates great tension in the work. The outdoors in this painting is overgrown and unkempt, which makes it look like the building is abandoned or at least neglected. The wooden support structure, the grills of the windows, are reminiscent of prison cell bars. This painting creates the feeling of isolation and being trapped in a lonely, unpleasant place. Despite this feeling, there's a ray of light in the darkness. A light in darkness can signify a guiding force in a hopeless situation. Light helps illuminate dark areas, making it possible to navigate in them. The 2x2 square pattern of light represents the survivors. They may not always make it to their destination, but they're always determined to make as much progress through the darkness as they can. This painting is found in the living room above the sofa in apartment number 3 on the top floor. The pig painting. This painting depicts a real chonker of a pig sitting on its butt outdoors on a green plain. There are 4 apples on the ground and 2 clouds on a simple sky background. The pig has a tired expression on its face. Unlike the other paintings, this painting has enough distinguishable detail to make remarks about the texture of the paint with a reasonable level of confidence. It appears like the surface of this painting is full of cracks. This can occur for a number of reasons. Cracks can form immediately as part of the painting process, or years later due to degradation. The immediate cracks can be caused by not following simple oil painting rules like fat over lean or oil over acrylic but not vice versa. The degradation cracks can be caused by storing the painting in a place with changing levels of humidity. Moisture in the air causes the flexible canvas underneath the paint to expand and contract slightly. Since the paint on top is rigid and dry, it can't flex, so the pushing and pulling effect it experiences creates cracks. Note, these are just some examples. There are many possible reasons why this painting has cracks. Like the other paintings, this painting could represent the 4 survivors against the infected horde. The survivors are the apples, and the pig is the large looming danger that threatens to consume them. Rather than make the same comparison over and over, here's a slightly different interpretation. This picture represents the 4 survivors fighting a tank. In this interpretation, they are still the apples that are very much food for the pig. But it's amusing to imagine the apples running around the pig like the survivors fighting a tank. Picture the apples circle strafing and using a Molotov cocktail on the pig. Delightful. The fact that one of the apples is separate really does bring to mind a tank fight in Left 4 Dead. The lone apple is shooting the pig tank closely from behind while it focuses on a different target. Weird observation, but the pig's front right leg looks like a human leg. A slender feminine leg with footwear on. Why is it the only one with a hoof drawn on? Why do the other legs end in blobs? Oh, how very odd. This painting is found in the bedroom above the bed in apartment number 2 on the middle floor. The forest painting. This landscape painting depicts a forest and a river in front of a mountain range. The weather is nice with sparse clouds, and there is some vegetation in the foreground. Like the coastline painting, this painting has a golden ornate frame. The same information can be presumed from this. The painting is possibly held in higher regard or important in some way. Off topic, but gold has an interesting history in art. While one chunk of the world decorated their place of worship with gold, another decorated their place of worship with lapis lazuli. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. One notable detail of this work is that there's a large red signature visible in the bottom right. It's difficult to discern the letters. It appears to be a capital R, followed by an I, and the final letter can be a D, an O, or a cursive S. Random advice. If you're an art student, don't put your signature on the front of your work. Your signature has no weight. You're not selling a painting for more because you made it when you're just starting out. You've yet to build up any sort of reputation. Build up a catalog of superb work. Have your work shown off in galleries and featured first. Another reason, it looks pretentious. Nobody wants to teach a student that already thinks they're a master. Show some humility. You're in school to learn from masters and become one day. Final reason, the signature detracts from the work. It's text, which steals attention as it's processed by human brains separately from the rest of the painting. It's like an advertisement. In all of human history, has placing an advertisement onto something ever improved it? No, it has not. And now you know why I don't do sponsored segments in my videos. Let's move on. Mountains are incredibly massive things known for their beauty and sheer scale. They represent stability and unbreakable willpower. The survivors are strong like the mountains. They have unending determination, which sees them through their journey. Mountains can also symbolize being closer to a higher up plane of existence or a deity. This is a really meta comparison, so stay with me on this. The real universe exists on a higher plane of existence than the universe of Left 4 Dead. Players are like gods. They are divine beings that live in a higher reality. When a player controls a survivor, it's like a god piloting a mortal. The survivor becomes an avatar of the player, a manifestation of the player in the lower reality. So, the survivors are like the mountains in this painting. They act as a bridge or link between a higher up universe and their lower down universe. This painting is found in the bedroom above the bed in apartment number 3 on the top floor. Unlike all other paintings, this one resides in pure darkness. Perhaps this has meaning. This calm, positive, and beautiful nature painting, being concealed by darkness, could allude to how sometimes it's hard to find positive in negative situations. Alright, now that all 9 paintings that reside within this apartment building have been analyzed, it's time to return to the hypothesis of this video. The developers were geniuses who hid a secret in the paintings at the start of the game. They used the motif of 4 objects in each painting to tie the paintings together and represent the 4 survivors. The paintings depict the survivors in different abstract ways in order to foreshadow the game as a whole and deliver the core messages. That being success through cooperation, fighting against an all-encompassing force, the value of others, crippling isolation at the end of civilization, and teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, but for real, the paintings really do echo what the game is about. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes the survivors don't make it. Regardless of how grim the zombie apocalypse is, playing Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 is about working with others. It's about making a connection to 3 other human beings somewhere else in the world in order to overcome a challenge. And just like the paintings in this apartment building, it's beautiful. One neat thing about life is, everyone is different. No 2 people will have the exact same takeaways from a work of art. This is because we all have different backgrounds and culture. We've all lived unique lives, absorbing information from different sources. We've been shaped differently by our upbringings, our experiences, and the people around us. With that in mind, dear viewer, if you have something to add, like your own interpretation on the paintings, please do so. Your perspective is unique, and there's value in sharing it. I'd love to read your take in the comments. Thanks for watching. Au revoir.